What's up, poker players? Hope you guys are out there crushing it on the tables. In today's video, we are trying to catch up on the sessions from the last month, and we are going to take a look at this $346 session, over 5,500 hands. Let's jump right into the poker action. First hand we're taking a look at is from the 200 NL table. We have pocket jacks playing from under the gun. A little bit short-handed here. We have 7 players being dealt into this hand. And our chip stack is at 142 big blinds. Going to be putting in a pretty standard open here of 3x with the pocket jacks. Fold around to the small blind who puts in a 3-bet. Makes it $22 to go. Pretty solid numbers. Not a ton of hands on this player. Has only 3-bet though with premium hands. These stats are up to date, so maybe we didn't have as much when we were playing against this player. I think we could probably get rid of pocket jacks to a player who only 3-bets premium hands. Best case scenario, we're going to be against an ace king, but the big blind comes along as well. Pretty high VPIP, low aggression from the big blind, and it is $16 for us to call here into a pot of $50, and we will be playing in position against these players who are both relatively deep stacked. So I do like our call here to see a flop and play against these players in a big pot. Flop is 6 high, 2 tone. 2 hearts out there. We have the backdoor heart draw as well as the jacks over the board. When the small blind checks back, we can narrow their range down a little bit. I think a lot of the overpairs would continuation bet in this spot, like aces or kings. So I think there's a good possibility that the small blind is holding a hand like ace queen or ace king. Ace king is most likely from this player who only 3-bets premium hands, and it checks back to us, and I put in a bet a little bit smaller than half pot. Don't want to give a free card to someone who is playing a hand like ace king, and we do get rid of the small blind, so I think our read was pretty much on there, and the big blind does make a call. Turn is the 8 of spades. The only hand that improves right now was pocket 7s. There's the possibility with a player that has a higher VPIP to play suited connectors in the spot, but it was a 3-way pot, so that hand is most likely not going to be within this player's range. And with all of the draws out there to spades, hearts, and a recreational type player, I think we can charge them the maximum by jamming all in here and being against one of the big draws that are out there. And we do get a call from pocket 9s. Just have to avoid a 7 or a 9 going into the river. 86% favorite right here. And the jack on the river locks it up for us, and we take down this pot of $356. Now we're moving to the 100 NL table. We have pocket aces playing from the cutoff. Under the gun opens to 3x. We get a 3-bet from the hijack seat. Mad Life Grinder, a very regular solid player. Most likely going to be a very strong hand in this spot when under the gun opens and we get a 3-bet here. We know that under the gun is playing a pretty tight range. Maybe not that tight with the queen 10 open. That's toward the bottom of their opening range. Probably wouldn't be in my open range from there. But we can assume Mad Life Grinder has a strong hand here. And I don't want to bet him off of the strong hand. And there's a possibility we could get a 4-bet here from this player. When they're playing a very strong range here, we could get a 4-bet from an ace king. Pocket queens, pocket kings are probably going to come back over the top and 4-bet. So I just slow play the aces and make a call here. We get a call from the big blind, and we get a call from under the gun. That didn't exactly work out the way I wanted it to, but we concealed the value of our hand, and we're going to be playing in position against 3 very deep stacks, and we have the possibility to get in a very big hand here. And that flop is absolutely perfect for us. We have the ace of diamonds giving us the backdoor nut flush draw, as well as blockers to the flush draw, and we flop top set. Flop checks to the cutoff, who continuation bets to $19, a little bit larger than half pot. Once again, I just called, not giving away the value of our hand quite yet, and we get the jam that we wanted pre-flop. from under the gun. Cutoff gets out of the way. I, of course, am going to be calling here with top set. Get it all in. We are up against a flush draw. Let's try to avoid one diamond. 7 on the turn locks up the full house for us, and we take down this pot of over $300 with the full house aces over sevens. Still at the 100 NL table. This time we have ace king playing from the small blind. Under the gun +2 opens to 3x, and the button puts in a 3-bet. Button is a regular player, but has a very wide 3-bet percentage from the button, 18%. Pretty much any 2 Broadway cards from this player. So I think this is a great spot to be putting in a 4-bet. We don't really want to be playing ace king from out of position against 2 regular players. We'd rather just put in a bet here and maybe take down this pot pre-flop. Worst case scenario, we see a flop out of position, but with a very strong hand. But I don't do that. I just make a call here. I think that is a mistake. I think a 3-bet was the play here. This was probably one of those sessions where I am multi-tabling. Probably didn't get a good read on it. Think that's definitely a mistake. And we are seeing a 3-way flop out of position. Flop is queen high, 2-tone, 2 hearts. We have the backdoor hard draw and 2 overcards, as well as a draw to the Broadway straights. I just check here. Runner Lucker also checks, and the button checks. Turn is the 5 of hearts. We are now 1 card from the nut flush draw. I check once again. This time Runner Lucker bets $22, 2/3 pot. And this is why we don't want to be playing hands like this out of position. It puts us in a lot of tough spots. It's $22 for us to make a call here into a $56 pot. We're getting over 2.5 to 1 on our money here, drawing to the nuts. I still think a 10 improves us to the best hand, so I do make the call here. And the river is the ace of diamonds. I'm going to check call any bet here, and hopefully we improved with that ace, or we can get our opponent to put in a bluff on a missed flush on the river. They jam all in, and I do make the call here, and we wind up losing this pot of over $200. I think the mistake we made here was this call pre-flop. I definitely think there was a 4-bet here that we should have made. Let's learn from it and improve next time we play. Here's one of my favorite hands to play, pocket aces. We are under the gun at the 200 NL table. We have a player that's posted pretty loose numbers, very high VPIP, so I'm going to be putting in a big bet here to try to extract as much value as we can. Make it 6x to go, and we do get a call from the player who posted, and we see a heads up flop. There is $27 in the pot. Our opponent has $88 in their stack. Flop is 8 high, 2-tone. We have the backdoor nut flush draw as well as the aces over the board. I like leading out in this spot against a weaker player. We can pretty much play this player straight up. Don't really have to conceal the value of our hand. And our opponent has very, very low fold percentages on the flop, turn, and river. So I think we're going to be getting called down here a lot of the time with any hand that connects with this flop, possibly 2 overcards like you see. So I put in a bet of $16, a little bit less than 2/3 pot. Our opponent jams all in. I think this is a pretty easy call here. I do make the call, and we are up against an ace queen, and that jack on the turn locks it up for us. Our opponent is drawing dead going into the river, and we take down this $203 pot on Bama Burke's first hand at the table. Now we have pocket 4s playing at the 100 NL table. From the big blind, folds around to the hijack who opens to 3x. Button calls, and we are just going to see a flop here from the big blind. And we wind up flopping middle set. I just check back. Hopefully we get a continuation bet from one of these players. And the button bets 301, about 1/3 the pot. I make a call here not to give away the value of our hand. And the deuce on the turn pretty much locks it up for us. Little did I know what we were up against. But once again I check back. This time our opponent bets a little bit less than half pot. And I put in the 3 bets. Our opponent just calls. We're getting in a tricky one now. Queen comes on the river, and I jam all in. I think a check in this spot could have been just as good. Our opponent has pretty much shown that they have a good hand though, and will call down pretty much anything besides a flush or straight draw that missed. There could be a lot of flush or straight draws within our opponent's range, so we could try to bluff induce by checking back here on the river. But if our opponent does have a pair over the 7s, we are most likely going to see a call here. And of course we're going to be getting a call here with the pocket 7s because they they have a full house that is larger than ours and we get coolered. Not much you can do about that one except move on to the next hand, and we will move on to the next video tomorrow. So hit that subscribe button so you guys get notified when the new video comes out. Head down to the video description for links to all the poker products that I use, as well as my social media pages. Make sure you guys are following on Twitter, like on Facebook, all that good stuff. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or learned something today. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below. Be back tomorrow with a brand new video, but until then, I'll see you guys out on the virtual felt.